All right, so looks like we're diving into some pretty choppy waters today.
Oh, yeah.
Guyanese politics.
Okay.
Specifically, this potential APNU and AFC alliance.
Right.
And get this, just hours after signing an agreement to even explore this thing. AFC leader Nigel Hughes,
Yeah.
he comes out and says it's already on, like, life support.
Wow. Life support.
I know, right?
That's strong.
It is, and this is according to our source here, an article from News Source Guyana, dated January 22nd, 2025.
Okay.
So what on earth happened?
Well, that phrasing, life support, it really is striking.
Yeah.
It suggests a real sense of urgency,
Yeah.
Maybe even a touch of drama, I wonder, could it even be like a calculated move by Hughes to try and, gain a little leverage in the negotiations? Or does it reflect like genuine concern about the state of this alliance?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I mean, to understand all this drama, we need a little context, right?
Yeah.
So the APNU and the AFC, these are the major opposition parties in Guyana.
Yes.
They had a successful partnership a while back, back in 2015. They even won the election together.
Right.
But things kind of went south after they lost in 2020.
Okay.
The AFC, they pulled out of their formal agreement.
Right.
But they kept working with the APNU and the National Assembly.
Okay. So there's this history of both like collaboration and friction.
For sure.
And that friction seems to be kind of reigniting with this new exploratory agreement.
Totally. Okay, so can you remind me, what did this agreement actually say?
Well, it was meant to be a two-phase process.
Okay.
So first, they just figure out if they can even work together again.
Right.
Get past their differences. And IF.
Big if.
Big if, that's a yes. Then they move on to phase 2.
Okay.
Which is hammering out like a joint campaign strategy.
Okay.
And they set a deadline, March 31st, 2025, to make a decision.
March 31st.
Yeah.
So not a whole lot of time to patch things up, especially with this whole league thing that just happened.
Right.
I mean, just hours after they signed the agreement, boom, details are out in the press.
Wow.
And Hughes is quoted saying, "Trust and confidentiality for us are particularly important."
He doesn't sound like he's playing around.
No, not at all.
This leak throws a massive wrench in the whole process,
Yeah.
Suggests someone might be trying to, like, sabotage the alliance.
Right.
Or at least benefit from sowing discord.
Yeah.
Building trust is, like, essential for any political partnership.
Oh, yeah.
And this incident has certainly shaken the foundation.
For sure. It's like they were building a bridge to try and reach some common ground. But somebody just came in and dynamited a section of it.
Right.
And Hughes is left standing there wondering if it's even worth rebuilding.
Yeah.
So what's his plan now? Walk away or try to salvage things?
Well, he has said the agreement is on life support.
Right.
Which is very interesting wording.
Yes.
It suggests that there's still a flicker of hope. But it also highlights the precariousness of this whole situation.
Totally.
He's leaving the door open for, like, reconciliation. But he's also made it clear the AFC is prepared to contest the election solo if they have to.
So he's keeping his options open, playing it smart.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's saying, we're willing to work together, but we're not desperate.
Right.
That's got to give them some leverage in the negotiations.
Absolutely. It reinforces the AFC's commitment to their own agenda, regardless of what happens with the APNU.
For sure. But let's not forget, there's another big elephant in the room.
Oh.
If they do manage to mend fences here,
yeah.
Who leads the charge?
Yeah, who becomes the presidential candidate?
Right. The leadership question.
Exactly.
So right now, nobody has been chosen. You've got Hughes, the potential candidate for the AFC, and Aubrey Norton for the APNU.
Right.
Although I did read that Norton hinted at the possibility of another candidate from the PNC, which is part of the APNU.
Okay.
It's getting complicated.
And Hughes has suggested using scientific means like polls to determine the leader.
Scientific means, huh?
Yeah, almost seems like they're trying to take the emotion out of it.
Yeah.
Is this a genuine attempt at fairness, or is it just a way to avoid some messy internal conflicts?
Right. It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
It is interesting, though, that he's emphasizing this scientific approach, especially given the current climate of distrust.
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to reassure both sides that the process will be transparent and objective.
It could be a strategic move to gain that trust back after the leak.
Okay, now this next bit, this is where things get really interesting for me.
Okay.
So the AFC, they've brought in Alston Stewart,
Uh-huh.
a Jamaican politician, to lead their side of the negotiations.
A Jamaican politician.
I know, right? What's the logic there?
Now, that is a curious detail.
It is.
Why choose an outsider to navigate these really sensitive discussions?
Right.
Is this a sign of desperation?
I was thinking the same thing.
Maybe they couldn't find anyone within their own ranks that they trusted enough to handle this.
That's what I was thinking. Or could it be like they want someone who's not entangled in the internal politics of the AFC or even Guyanese politics in general? Someone bring a fresh perspective.
Okay.
Maybe act as like a neutral mediator.
That's a possibility, yeah. Bringing in someone with experience in coalition building, but from a different context, might offer valuable insights.
Right.
Or perhaps they're hoping Stewart's outsider status will make him appear more impartial, more trustworthy in the eyes of the APNU.
It's like they're saying, look, we're serious about making this work. We're bringing in the big guns.
It certainly adds a layer of intrigue to the whole situation.
It does.
And it makes you wonder, what does this choice say about the AFC's overall strategy?
Right.
Are they trying to project an image of strength and unity, or is there something else going on beneath the surface?
So many questions.
I know.
Few answers.
Yeah.
But I think we've laid out the key players here and the challenges they're facing.
For sure.
I mean, this alliance, this potential powerhouse.
Yeah.
It's hanging by a thread.
It is.
So where do we go from here? What does this all mean for the upcoming election?
Well, that's where things get even more fascinating.
Oh.
This fragile agreement, this leak, this whole situation.
Yeah.
It offers a glimpse into the current state of Guyanese politics.
Yeah.
It's a microcosm of the larger forces at play. The power struggles, the shifting alliances, the battle for the soul of the nation.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's unpack that. So we're talking power struggles, shifting alliances, this battle for the soul of the nation.
Yeah.
I mean, is it really that dramatic?
Well, perhaps dramatic is, a bit strong, but the stakes are undeniably high. I mean, the outcome of this election, it's going to shape the direction of Guyana for years to come.
Right.
And this potential alliance between the APNU and the AFC, it sits right at the heart of that struggle.
Okay. I'm following you. So let's say they manage to pull it off, this unlikely alliance.
Yeah.
They patch things up, present like a united front. What impact could that have on the election?
A united opposition, it would certainly pose a much greater challenge to the incumbent government.
Okay.
A divided opposition, though, risks splitting the vote, making it easier for the incumbents to just, retain power.
Right. So that's the simplest scenario.
Yeah.
But there's got to be more nuance to consider.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely. Well, a united front, it might project this image of stability and offer a clearer alternative vision for the country.
Right.
But it also requires compromise.
Of course.
So their platform, it might end up appealing to like the broadest base.
Yeah.
But what about those voters who strongly identify with one party or the other?
Right.
They might feel like their concerns aren't being fully addressed.
So a united front could actually alienate some voters.
Potentially, yeah.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way.
It's a delicate balancing act for sure. And then you have the opposite scenario, right?
Okay.
Separate campaigns.
Yeah.
This allows each party to really tailor their message to their specific base.
Okay.
Play to their strengths.
Right.
But it also risks kind of weakening the overall opposition message.
Yeah.
And failing to capitalize on the potential synergies of a coalition.
Right. It's like, are they stronger together?
Yeah.
Even if it means some compromise.
Exactly.
Or do they go all in on their individual strengths, even if it means potentially splitting the vote?
That's the question.
Yeah.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
It's not just about who wins the election.
Right.
It's about what kind of political landscape emerges in Guyana afterwards. A united opposition.
Yeah.
It might signal a more collaborative, less fragmented political scene.
Okay.
But separate campaigns, they could lead to a more fractured, more volatile environment, even if the opposition manages to win.
So it's about the long game.
Exactly.
The bigger picture.
Yes.
It's not just about this one election. It's about shaping the future of Guyanese politics.
Precisely. And let's not forget the voters in all of this.
Oh, right.
They're the ones who ultimately decide the outcome.
Yeah, you're right. It's easy to get caught up in the political maneuvering. But at the end of the day, it's the people of Guyana who will determine the fate of this potential alliance and indeed the future of their country.
Absolutely. And what are those voters looking for? Are they yearning for a united opposition to challenge the current government? Or are they more drawn to the distinct platforms and personalities of the individual parties?
It's hard to say.
It is.
But understanding the electorate's mood, that's got to be crucial for both the APNU and the AFC.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why this whole life support situation is so fascinating. It's not just about whether this alliance survives. It's about what it reveals about the desires and expectations of the Guyanese people.
It's like holding a mirror up to the electorate, you know?
Yeah.
Like, are they looking for unity, stability, a clear alternative?
Right.
Or are they content with the status quo, even if it means continued division and uncertainty?
Deep stuff.
It is.
But let's not forget, all of this is happening against a ticking clock. They've only got until March 31st to figure this all out.
Right.
That deadline, it's looming large.
And that pressure cooker environment, it can lead to both, like, rash decisions and unexpected breakthroughs.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how these next few weeks unfold.
Right.
Will they manage to rebuild trust, forge a united front?
Right.
Or will they succumb to those internal divisions and just go their separate ways?
You know, for all the uncertainty, there's also this sense of possibility here.
Yeah.
This situation, as precarious as it is, it highlights the dynamic nature of politics.
It does.
Things can change quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Alliances can shift, and surprises are always possible.
Always.
Yeah, I agree. It's a reminder that even in the face of adversity, there's always potential for change, for innovation, for new solutions to emerge.
Absolutely. It's about adaptability, flexibility, and a willingness to seize opportunities as they arise.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential consequences of this alliance, both for the upcoming election and for the broader political landscape. We've considered the different scenarios, the challenges, the opportunities.
Yeah.
But there's one element we haven't really explored yet.
Oh.
The human element.
Ah, yes, the personalities.
Exactly.
The motivations, the behind-the-scenes maneuvering that shapes the course of events.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that brings us back to the leaders themselves.
Okay.
Nigel Hughes with his dramatic life support declaration. Aubrey Norton hinting at other potential candidates within the APNU.
Right.
And then there's Alston Stewart, the Jamaican negotiator, thrown into the mix.
All right. It's like a political chess match, you know, with each player making their moves, trying to anticipate their opponent's next step.
What are they thinking? What are their goals?
Right.
What compromises are they willing to make?
Yeah.
And perhaps most importantly, are they truly committed to working together, or are their individual ambitions ultimately more important?
Those are the questions that will determine the fate of this alliance.
Yeah.
It's about more than just policies and platforms. It's about personalities, relationships, and the delicate dance of trust and ambition that drives political negotiations.
So to really understand what's happening here,
Yeah.
we need to dive deeper into the minds of these key players.
Indeed. Let's try to unpack their motivations, their strategies, their potential strengths and weaknesses.
Okay, let's start with Nigel Hughes. He's the one who threw down the gauntlet with that life support comment. What's his game? So Nigel Hughes, he's a fascinating figure.
He is.
Seasoned politician, strong advocate for the AFC's agenda.
Yeah.
And clearly not afraid to play hardball in these negotiations.
Yeah, not at all. That life support comment,
Right.
it was a bold move.
It certainly got everyone's attention.
It did.
It suggests that he's not backing down from his demands for trust and transparency.
Yeah, he's the one who was burned by that leak.
Exactly.
But could this tactic backfire?
Ooh, interesting.
Could it be perceived as like an ultimatum, you know, pushing the APNU away rather than drawing them closer?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Is it a genuine expression of his frustration?
Yeah.
Or a calculated move to gain leverage?
Right.
Maybe he's trying to, like, force the APNU's hand, make them prove their commitment to this alliance.
It's possible.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, Hughes has his own ambitions to consider.
Right.
He is a potential presidential candidate for the AFC.
Exactly.
So how does this alliance and his role within it fit into his larger political aspirations?
Is he willing to compromise those aspirations for the sake of a united front?
Yeah.
Or will he ultimately prioritize his own path to power?
Right. Those are tough questions.
They are.
And I imagine the answers aren't so simple.
Not at all.
No.
And then we have Aubrey Norton,
Yeah.
leader of the APNU,
Right.
he's in a tricky position.
He is.
He needs to maintain unity within his own coalition,
Yeah.
which includes the PNC,
Right.
while also navigating this delicate dance with the AFC.
Yeah, and remember he hinted that there might be other potential candidates within the APNU?
Oh, right.
That adds another layer of complexity to this whole leadership question.
It does. Is he genuinely open to another candidate stepping forward?
Yeah.
Or is it a tactic to keep Hughes and the AFC guessing?
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah,
But it's a reminder that Norton has his own internal political battles to fight.
they're sure.
You know, he needs to keep his own house in order while also negotiating this potential alliance.
Right.
It's a balancing act.
It is.
And one wrong step could just topple the whole structure.
And then there's the wild card.
Oh, yeah?
Austin Stewart, the
Uh-huh.
Jamaican politician brought in to lead the AFC's negotiations.
Right, right.
This is where I get really curious.
Okay.
What's his role in all of this?
Yeah.
Is he just a neutral facilitator?
Yeah.
Or is there more to it?
Well, it's a fascinating choice.
It is.
On one hand, you could see it as a sign of the AFC's commitment to finding common ground.
Okay.
You know, they're bringing in someone who's not embroiled in the existing tensions.
Yeah.
Someone who can offer a fresh perspective.
Right, like a mediator.
Exactly.
Someone to bridge the divide.
Exactly. But on the other hand, it could be seen as a sign of weakness.
Okay.
Are they so divided, so distrustful of each other that they need an outsider to come in and fix things?
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
It almost makes it seem like they're admitting they can't solve their own problems.
And let's not forget, Stewart is a seasoned politician in his own right.
Right.
He's not just some, neutral observer.
Yeah.
He has his own experiences, his
Correct.
own biases.
Yeah.
How will those influence his approach to these negotiations?
So many questions. But here's the thing. I think this whole situation, as messy and complicated as it is,
Yeah,
it's a reminder of what makes politics so fascinating.
it is.
It's not just about policies and platforms.
Right.
It's about people.
It is.
It's about their ambitions, their motivations, their relationships with each other.
Yeah.
And all of that plays out on this public stage with the fate of a nation hanging in the balance.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that politics is ultimately a human endeavor
Yeah.
with all the complexities and contradictions that come with it.
Sure.
And in this case, we're seeing that play out in real time with twists and turns that are keeping everyone guessing.
And as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah,
I think we're laying with more questions than answers.
it seems that way.
Will this alliance survive?
Yeah.
Who will emerge as the leader?
Mm.
What does it all mean for the future of Guyanese politics?
Big questions.
Only time will tell.
Indeed, but one thing's for sure,
What's that?
we'll be watching closely.
Oh, yeah.
This is a story that's far from over.
And that's what makes it so compelling.
It is.
It's a reminder that even in the face of uncertainty,
Yes.
even when things seem to be falling apart,
Mhm.
there's always potential for something new to emerge, something unexpected, something that could change the game entirely.
Absolutely.
So, as we leave you to ponder all of this, here's a final thought.
Okay.
What does this situation tell us about the nature of leadership, about the challenges of building trust, and finding common ground in a world that often feels increasingly divided?
Yeah, that's a question worth pondering.
It is.
Not just for the politicians involved, but for all of us.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you to your own deep dive into these questions. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking out those hidden connections that shape our world.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating topic.
We will.
Until then, stay curious.